Hi everyone, this is Mahesh Reddy. In this class, I am going to deal about basic building blocks which are required for building embedded applications and what are the parameters should you consider for selecting a processor which is suitable for building an embedded application. These things are discussed here in this unit. See, it's the basic building blocks which are required for building embedded application. Tell me, what are the blocks you required for building embedded application? You need a power supply unit, a reset circuitry, and a oscillator circuit. Then you need input devices, you need output devices, and you need a processor for processing your information. You need memory elements. You need some peripherals such as timers, serial communication interfaces, as well as you need interrupt controller. You need some parallel ports, and there may be some application specific circuits, system application specific circuits internally. These are all the building blocks which are required for building an embedded application. Let us see each one in detail here. Coming to the power supply is essential for the functionality of any embedded application. And a reset circuitry is also essential in order to restart your microcontroller at the time of debugging or at the time of any fault occurred. An oscillatory circuit is one which is used for supplying clock signal to the processor and other peripherals in order to synchronize the operations in order to run the instructions inside the processor. So this clock signal is mandatory. Coming to the input devices, there is a need of interfacing input devices to interact with the external world. Here input devices may be the temperature sensor or ultrasonic sensor, IR sensor, or your keypads, or RFID readers. These are all comes under the input devices. With the help of the input devices, what you will do, you will take the input from the external world and that information is fed to the processor. Your processor may be your microcontroller or microprocessor or FPGA or application specific IC, anything. What it will do, it will take the input from the input devices and process that input according to the instructions that stored in the program memory and data memory. Here, the memory element may be ROM or RAM. In ROM, your program memory, ROM is a program memory actually. In that, your instructions will be present, and generally data will present in the RAM. That is, temporary data will present in the RAM. With the help of this information, the processor will execute the instructions according to the inputs given and give the corresponding outputs. Your output devices may be your motors or LCD displays, anything. You need some peripherals in order to do these operations. That peripherals, it may be timers for generating delays. If you want to communicate data from one place to another place, you need serial communication interfaces. Here, serial communication interfaces are, it may be UART, I2C, or SPI. Because serial communication needs some protocols to transfer data from one location to another location, no? So you use some protocols here in serial communication. It may be UART protocol or I2C or SPI for communication from one place to another place. And here you can look at the interrupt controller, which is used for controlling the interrupts which are coming from the external world or the interrupts which are occurred in the instructions itself. These can be processed with the help of the interrupt controller. Understand? And you are having some application specific ICs. Application specific ICs like ADC. ADC is application specific IC which is used for converting analog information into digital information. DAC is the application specific IC which is used for converting digital information again back into analog information. Comparators. These are all present inside the your application or controller. And these are the various building blocks which are used for building an embedded hardware. Understand? Next we will see about what are different parameters we should consider in order to select a processor which is suitable for our application. Let us see here. Processor selection for an embedded system. How we should select a processor for our embedded system or embedded application. See here. First, crystal frequency is the important thing. Frequency. Depending upon the frequency only, your instruction speed depends upon. Instruction execution speed depends upon. For crystal frequency is high means when instruction more, you can execute more instructions in less amount of time. So crystal frequency is important. Some of the peripherals like ADC also requires a higher frequency, higher clock frequency in order to convert analog information into digital information. So before selecting the processor, you should know how much amount of crystal frequency it can support. That is, how much clock frequency can I interface to that processor. This is the first parameter you should know about. You should study about. Next, computing performance. That means speed of operation. How speed and how much fast that my processor can execute the instructions. Coming to this, pipeline and superscalar architectures. Pipelining means executing more number of instructions at a time. It is called as pipelining. If you are executing more instructions in parallel, that is concurrently, then that type of pipelining is called as a superscalar architecture. In superscalar architecture, you can execute more instructions in parallel, that is concurrently at a time. And prefetch cache unit. If you are having prefetch cache unit inside the processor, then what we can do? We can prefetch the instructions when one instruction is in decoding state. If one instruction is in execution, then at that time only we can fetch another instruction and we can place it in the prefetch cache unit, so that instruction execution will become faster. So before selecting a processor, you should see whether it contains a prefetch cache unit in it, whether this functionality is there or not. You should select the type of processor. Next, RISC architecture. You should see whether it follows a RISC architecture or CISC architecture. Reduced instruction set computer. If you go for reduced instruction set computer, the pipelining is very easy. The instruction execution speed is more, as instructions are of same size. So RISC architecture is mainly preferred than the CISC architecture. You should look after that. Then coming to register windows. The processor which is having register windows capability can do multitasking in an efficient manner, because register windows are those which are used for storing the addresses or data and which are faster than the external memories. So if you are doing multitasking means so many subfunctions are there for execution. So many threads will be running internally. In order to store the switching between one thread to another thread or from one function to another function, that information should be stored and retrieved very quickly, so that register windows are used to make this thing simple. So you should select a processor which contains register windows. Auto shutdown feature. You should have auto shutdown feature for low power consumption. If you are not using any peripheral, or if you are not using your controller, the processor or peripherals should be automatically shut down, so that you can provide, it will consume less power, so you can increase the battery lifetime. So before purchasing a processor, you should see whether it contains the auto shutdown feature or not. Then, as I said, for low power operations, we should consider auto shutdown feature. Next, burst mode axis. That means the reading and writing operations should be fast. So that is called as a burst mode axis. It should contain the DMA operations, DMA control. DMA interfacing facility should be there for that processor. You should select a processor which is having DMA interface capability and which supports burst mode access. That means you can transfer a large amount of data at a time. Next, atomic operation unit. Here, atomic operation unit indicates that using the shared memory, that is, in many applications, shared memory is accessed by the peripherals and different peripherals or the processors. That means different processors or different peripherals will use same sort of memory. In that case, one processor or one peripheral which is using shared memory should log that memory, while another unit should not use that memory. That means one of the CPU or peripheral should log that bus or memory location. This type of operation is called as an atomic operation. Understand? Atomic operation is nothing but when you're using shared memory, you should log that memory so as to prevent the accidental corruption that should be occurred if another peripheral or processor tried to access that memory. Understand? Atomic operation. Next, big endian and little endian. Should decide that your processor supports big endian or little endian formatting. That is why you are storing the lower byte in the lower address or lower byte in the higher address. You should know about that while you are selecting your processor. Mostly little endian processors are preferred than the big endian because coding is easy in little endian compared to the big endian. And next, the features: on-chip peripherals and I/O. And what are the on-chip peripherals that your processor? Let me say that a controller is also processor, no, processing element for building embedded application. The on-chip peripherals that your controller is having, whether it is having ADC or DAC comparator, is having a timer or not, should consider while you buying your controller from the market. And I/O. How many I/O pins are there for interfacing the external sensors? For building a big application, you need a large amount of I/O pins. Next, internal memory, ROM and RAM. ROM and RAM is also important while you are buying a controller from the market, because your program data will be stored in the ROM and temporary data will be stored in the RAM. If there is a lesser amount of ROM means you cannot program more amount of code into the memory. If you are having less amount of RAM means you cannot perform multitasking operations more efficiently.